JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Corner Office, my new podcast that is all business. You'll see on my channel I've got a lot of different topics. So I thought, you know what? I should probably make it easier for those of you that are subscribers, thank you so much, to know what are the categories JJ. And so I'm going to have a series of different podcasts. But with that being said, what are we addressing? Small business issues. Now, not just tax. You know, like one of the things I'm going to talk about is how I had a virtual office when I first opened my practice before the turn of the century back in 1997. See, I've been doing this a long time, right? I've worked with a lot of small businesses. And what I love about being a CPA, you know, an accountant for my clients is by dealing with the numbers and meeting with them throughout the year. Boy, we get into a lot of issues, not just about taxes and not just about QuickBooks and financials and payroll. You know, a lot of what goes into being a business owner is, I'm going to be honest with you, it's the emotion of it, right? I mean, I want you to think as a small business owner, the confidence that you have to have opened your business, even if it's out of your own house. The confidence to go out and now put your name, your logo, even if you came up with that business name, it's your name out there to sell something, right? Because that's what a business is. It's something that sells something for hopefully a profit. And there's a lot of emotion in that, right? I mean, just the courage of it, the confidence that then leads to the completely flip side of that same coin of, well, is it good enough? You know, are they going to buy it? Should I raise my prices? Should I pay that much? Should I hire somebody now? A second person? You know, is that rent too much? Is this making enough money? Oh, and by the way, I got to go home and eat and take care of my family, right? So what I want to address when we talk about all business is what the small business owner is dealing with. But I do want you to know it'll be a lot related to the money aspect and the financial aspect and, yes, the tax aspect. So a couple of things, right? So for those of you that are like, hey, I've listened to here, but now give me some meat, JJ. Like, give me some meat so I'll stick around. Here's some meat. You ready for this? It's going to make tax professionals' minds blow, okay? But here's your meat. If you're active in your business, you should be classifying yourself as an S Corp. Now, guess what? You wanted the meat, but, you know, for you to get the potatoes and all the veggies and some fresh water or whatever you drink to go along with it and nice silverware and all that stuff, well, you're going to have to stick around. And you can actually check out other videos on my channel to talk about, well, why and what's that do for you? And then also, well, what do I got to do now that I'm an S Corp? But I will tell you this, all of the businesses that I work with, that they're active, all of them are taxed as S Corps. I'm just going to tell you real quick, it doesn't matter if you are an Inc. or an LLC, those things can be taxed as an S Corp, a C Corp, a partnership. They can be, you know, different avenues when it comes to the taxes. So the other thing I want you to note, and I'm just going to give you now some meat, is that if you are beyond selling that first birdhouse, right? You now are helping the second customer with their hair. You're helping the third customer now actually find whatever it is you're brokering, right? And you're like, boy, maybe I got something here. Well, I want you to know this. As soon as you sell something, right, you've taken on some kind of liability. So what will be smart is for you to separate yourself from that liability. Now, I'm not talking about being an idiot, because if you're an idiot and you do idiot stuff, an LLC doesn't shield you from any idiot liability. But what I'm talking about is that's usually kind of the first step, is formalizing your business at the Secretary of State. Now, I'm going to tell you two things related to that. One, there are some new regulations, rules, and you've got to register within a very short period of time. So right now, I'm just going to tell you, just do it immediately, but you've got to register at FinCEN. I'll give you a link to it, but you got to register that business or there's a lot of penalties per day. You don't have to be worried about it. You just register some info there. But the second thing I want you to note is this. Many, right? So I've been doing videos now going on 6 years. One of the first videos I did, I talked about this, and I was in Central Park in New York City, and I was shooting a video, and when I was done, somebody came up to me and they said, my goodness, now I can go start my business because of what you just said. He said, this has been the one thing that has prevented me from actually pushing the button and starting my business. And you ready for this? It was naming the business, right? So don't get me wrong, the name of your business is very important, but what I want you to note is that when you're setting up your initial tax structure, your initial legal structure, okay, that can be separate and distinct from how you're doing business, doing business as. Now, don't get me wrong, it'd be a lot easier to just go, hey, this is my business name and I'm going to use it and there's my LLC and then it's all nice and consistent. But it is possible, and I have a number of clients that the entity that owns the business is some different name at the Secretary of State. No, this isn't some strategy to run from something or hide or whatever. But my point is that the name of your business for legal purposes and tax purposes doesn't have to be then the name of your business in which you're doing business as. Now, you definitely want to register that business, but why am I even telling you this? Because many continue to sell the birdhouses. They continue to cut hair. They continue to do another deal and another deal and another deal. And they're like, yeah, I need to set up that LLC. But they don't do it, and why? Because they're waiting to come up with what that name is. But the thing is I've got clients and they have an entity and they're doing business as many names. So get it set up. I mean, it could be 799-646699-432 LLC. And then later you go, oh, here's the perfect name. And then you do a registration for doing business as. Now, what did I talk about in the beginning? It's kind of the emotion behind it. See, when you're a small business owner, many times you sit down at the boardroom and you look around, you're like, I'm really the only one here, right? I'm really the only one here. So I'm going to tell you something that's probably very controversial. And you're going to go, wow, I am never listening to this guy again. I don't even know who this guy is, this JJ the CPA. But what? Could be controversial, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I did a video on this a long time ago. And I'm not kidding. I've had at least 10 people over the couple of years since it posted said, you know what, JJ, that video literally saved my marriage. He said, I never thought about it that way. And my spouse never thought about it that way. But here it is. As a small business owner, we know that what it takes to own that business and all the thought that goes into it. Who's typically one of your best advisors? You bet. You guessed it, right? Your life partner, who you are doing life with. Boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, fiance, spouse, married, whatever, right? Of course. But I really want you to ensure that you don't end up costing your marriage because of expectations of your spouse that isn't really involved in the business. And on the flip side, if you're not involved in the business, pick a line where you need to go, you know what, I don't really know because I'm not involved in the business every day. Now, if with your life partner, you can go, hey, there you are. And, oh, we're going home from work. Oh, there you are. And you get home, you go, oh, there you are. And you go to bed, and you go, oh, there you are. And then you wake up, and you go, oh, there you are. And then when you fix coffee at the office in the morning, you go, oh, there you are, right? If you're involved like that, okay, this doesn't apply to that. But I'm talking about the ones that they go out and they start the business. But a lot of times, you then have kind of a split going on there, right? Because typically, the one that's going out and they're now going to start that business with the confidence, probably both of you. But a lot of times, it's because the other person, the other spouse, has a income stream, typically it's going to be a job, that can be counted on to then allow for there to be this risk of a new business. So then, of course, it makes sense. Hey, listen, if I'm the regular revenue stream going into this household, then I want to know what's going on over here. Absolutely. But there has to be a line drawn in terms of, are you really the best advisor in every circumstance? And is your spouse, life mate, whatever, the best advisor in every circumstance? And I'm going to dare to say no. What are they good advisors in? Should I get a loan? Should I rent here? Should I hire this employee, right? Big decisions. But, and I'm not talking about the most minuscule, should I get this brand of Scotch tape or that brand of Scotch tape? But there are certain things that unless you are in that business every day, it really is only going to be you as the business owner that are going to be able to really know the right decision. Now, there's nothing wrong with just asking and getting an opinion, but a lot of times this is what can start happening. You start asking too many questions, you get too much advice, and now it's just doing this. And why would you want that? Because here's why I'm going to back it up. You ready for this? Here's why I'm going to back it up. For those that are like, what do you mean? My spouse that has a business, I want to be involved in every single thing that they're doing. How dare you? Well, here's the good news. Boop, just go to the next video, right? Or if you're like, well, that doesn't seem right. Well, I should be involved. Well, I should be involved in that. Okay. Let me ask you this, okay? Have you ever been to a wedding and in the vows was incorporated the bylaws of a business or an operating agreement of the business? Have you ever gone to a wedding and they say, and I promise this, and forever this, and if we set up a business, it'll be an S Corp, and I will always consult you with every decision, and I will ensure that, well, of course not. Right? And you're right, when we get married, we're making commitment there. Am I talking about doing things in secret? Come on, let's not be ridiculous here. I'm talking about real life, okay? What I'm saying is, have respect for the spouse that's not in the business every single day. Have respect for the spouse that is in the business every single day. And why do I suggest you have respect? To save your freaking marriage. That's why. Okay? So honestly, if you're married to somebody who's like, okay, you think you got other problems, sorry to say. Okay? I'm sorry to say. But what I'm telling you is this. Okay? Wake up and realize this is your business. As in, you need to stand on your own 2 feet. Because here's what also happens. When things go wrong, who are we blaming? Why do you want to cost your marriage if something happens to your business? You see what I'm saying? Separate the two. Now, why am I bringing that up with what I told you earlier? What do you do when you first start a business? Set up an LLC, separate it out, right? So have some separation. Now, if you're looking that way and you see that person all the time, that's my wife and I. Not though that we're in the same businesses, but we see each other a lot. We do have to go, you know what? Let's draw a line. No pillow talk. No talk on a Saturday. No talk when we're at dinner, right? Put up those ground rules. Let me tell you a couple other things that I talk with businesses is that when you're now getting into business, what you want to do when you're looking around is, what kind of business do I want to be? Now, if you've been in business 5-10 years and you go, well, this is the kind of business that I want to be. But you go, okay, but what kind of business do I want to be? What do I want to look like? What's the image? What's our prices? What are all those things? A lot of times I tell clients, don't only look at your competitors, look at those that do business in the same field, now not the same field, with the same kind of client, right? So if you're ultra luxury dentist, okay, well then how does the car dealership that sells luxury vehicles, like, what do their ads look like? What's that look like when you walk in the front door, right? Think of who your customer is and where are they shopping, right? And therefore, what is going to fit in? And what is the pricing related to those things in terms of profit margin and what's going on related to that, right? But the second thing is that when you're looking around and you're trying to figure out what kind of business you want to be, I would really say it's two categories. And I think when most people start their business, they always would say they're in the second category. Sure, why wouldn't you? There's two categories. I'm going to be a small business. That's category one. Category two is I'm shooting for the moon. We're going to go public. I'm going to make at least $1 trillion off this business. And therefore, I'm going all in. I'm going to get investors and all that. Okay. I've never come across clients that are in category two. Why? Because I'm just working with small businesses, right? Now, does that mean that when a dentist comes to me to say, hey, I want to open up a practice, or an attorney, and they don't say they want to shoot to Pluto and have all this, or person who's going to build houses, bird houses, or cut hair? Well, no, that doesn't mean they don't believe in themselves. What I'm saying is there's two categories. And really, if you're tuning into this, you're going to YouTube and getting great information as a small business owner, you're really in category one. I'm in category one, okay? But what we really want to think through is, where is the finish line? How much is enough? So when I was 35, I'm 52, so this is a while ago. I had a lot of goals coming out of high school and coming out of college. You should check out my podcast, Behind the Numbers, learn a bit more about where I came from. Because if you look in here and you're making all kinds of assumptions, you might be surprised. But I digress. With the goals that I wrote down, okay, like very specific, I pretty well achieved them by age 35. And I don't have a jet. I don't have a mansion. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff, right? But I'm just saying I achieved them. So one of the things I told my kids is, man, dream big. It doesn't have to be to Pluto and $1 trillion, but dream big, right? But here's the deal. When I was 35, I started looking around, started getting a little restless. But I came across this concept. And it was this: as a small business owner, find your finish line. Why? So you know when you're done. Now, what do I mean by that? Because we're never done. But you're growing and growing and growing and growing and growing in your business, right? More revenue coming in, right? Who's the rapper that says more money, more problems, right? Okay. But you get to a point and you go, okay, where do I need to be? And it's all based on your net. So the number one thing I tell clients is, what do you want to net from your business? And then go build the business that does that for you. So for one business, it's like, well, I don't have any overhead. So if I want to make 50 grand, then I just got to gross about 50 grand because it's all going in my pocket. Or, well, I want to make 50 grand, but I'm doing buying and selling birdhouses. So you might need to gross 150 grand for the costs and the labor to net 50 grand. But build the business to net what it is that you want to live on. Now, you want to drive luxury vehicles? Awesome. Say, well, I got to live on 100 grand, JJ. Great, pick it. What is the number? And I'm not talking about eating beans and like just to scrimp by, because that's what you came up with when you first opened your business. What I'm talking about is, what is going to provide the lifestyle that you go, this is worth it. But one of the traps we run into as small business owners, me too, is we don't know when enough is enough. And we think, oh, and more, and another idea, and another direction, right? And sometimes that can put a kibosh on your business. Sometimes that can alleviate pain over here, but create more pain over there, or whatever the case is, right? Because what are we really doing, in my opinion, as business owners? Yes, we want to provide a good product. Yes, we want to provide a good service. We want to be a great employer. We want to be in a position to, provide great things for the community. But let's just get real for a second here, right? Because I'm not talking about a charity. I'm not talking about a nonprofit. I'm talking about a business. It's your job. It's what you do to make a living. For what? For what you want to live on. And of course, that's different for everybody. Some will go, boy, if I made 50 grand, that's all I would need. You got others who are like, well, I need to net 50 grand a month. But when you decide what that line is, then you know when you're done. And then you're going to be able to enjoy it more is what I'm getting at. You're going to be able to enjoy it more. So let me tell you a couple of things as it relates to this podcast. It's going to be coming out every week. It's going to be focused in on small business. It's all business. It's the corner office. Now, I don't have a corner office like you would think in the tall building. Never have. What I've got is a small business. I've got a small office. I do overlook a beautiful pond. And I drive the car that I want to drive, and I golf where I want to golf, and I wear the clothes that I want to wear. And by the way, this vest came from Amazon, yo. Okay? This tie, Amazon. This shirt, Amazon. This watch, you can't get on Amazon. Okay? All I'm saying is, with this, I'm doing what I want to do. And if you look at my total revenue, 0.0000001% comes from YouTube. So thank you. But what I do for a living and the other ways that I have revenue streams, I'm doing enough to provide for the lifestyle that I want at the level that I want. So if you're a small business owner and you're sitting around and you're judging, or you're watching and you're judging, well, why are you doing that? Are you not happy with where you're at? Well, maybe what will help make you happy is figuring out where your finish line is, because that is when you go, okay, I'm happy with that. And that doesn't cause you to look this way and look that way and go, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that, so I better do these things. It puts you in a position of knowing that you've achieved what you set out to achieve, and the enjoyment that comes from that, and to be around the family or the freedoms that can come along with that as well, because many small business owners, it wasn't just about the money. It was for the freedom. And maybe because they don't want people telling them what to do. That's me. All right. Tune in weekly. All business for small business owners. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. You have a great one.